We're taking a break from work today to give you an update on what we're doing here in Sheridan. We're at the halfway point. It is the end of June. It's a beautiful day. And yeah, just wanted to give you guys an update, see what we've been up to, what our future events are, and where we're going to be heading after this.
So we got here just before April 1st, March 29th or whatever, and it snowed. And it was cold until like last Thursday, and then it was warm. But so we've been at this location since then. We were pretty much here because Jackie was going to be work camping full time, and I was going to be doing my RV, Route 6 RV business. And not knowing anything about Wyoming, nothing opens until like August.
2 weeks ago.
August 31st, everything opens. And then September 4th, everything closes apparently in Wyoming. But no. So I guess they needed some people. So I worked full time at the campground from March until just like the week or two after Memorial Day. And then I started opening up my days more. And I have been getting busy with RV work. And some other changes that they'll talk about later. Well, neither of us ever worked camp before. And I wasn't really sure what it was going to be or what my role was going to be because I never really talked about it because I wasn't really supposed to do it. But what I find out very quickly was that it was just perpetual yard work. Every time I was ever grounded from when I was 7 to 14, apparently I've been training for this moment of doing yard work in Wyoming pretty much my entire childhood. Whenever my dad would yell at me and make me stay home on Saturdays, and I would have to rake and mow and mulch and drag sticks all over the place. That's what apparently he was training me for, was to be a groundskeeper for work camper experience in Wyoming. And I'm sure I'm going to be able to take all of those skills to wherever work camping experience that we have forever, because now I know that all I do is drag a bunch of stuff around and make things look better than it was. And sometimes I deal with guests. They're called guests. I found that out the third day that they're not customers, they're guests.
Or campers.
But that's the lingo that I had to learn, not knowing any of this stuff. So being a work camper, it actually kind of helped us financially a little bit, because we're getting a little bit of a wage on top of free everything except for propane. With her work camping full time and me part time, it definitely gave us a little bit more of an edge. And then me getting pretty decent RV jobs, we've been able to catch up to a point where we're not getting ahead, but we're not falling behind. We're able to pay our bills and all that stuff. So that's where we're at as far as financially work camping and that kind of stuff.
My experience being a work camper, I'm the housekeeper around here. I clean cabins like the one we're sitting at right now. We have Conestoga wagons, which is pretty cool, and we have deluxe cabins. So I'm here, I'm cleaning all of it, and I assist with the groundskeepers here and there when I can. And the crew here is awesome, very laid back. We're all chill with each other. We have Thursdays and Fridays off, which is kind of an advantage for hiking and whatnot. When we usually go on our hike, we don't have to deal with crowded parking lots or crowded trails or anything, so we got that going for us.
There's really nothing ever crowded in Wyoming because there's 11 people here.
But yeah, so as far as the work camping goes, it's beautiful here. Lots of physical labor.
I have not lost any weight.
Neither have I. I've gained muscle though.
But I've gotten stronger.
Yeah.
We, as full-time RVers, are still working age, and we still have regular bills to pay. We're nowhere near retirement age, so we feel that work camping is a great way to save money as far as camping fees and all that extra stuff, but we also get paid on top of that. Work camping is a good way to still make some money on the road, or if you don't owe a lot of bills, or if you don't have a lot of other financial obligations, even just staying at campgrounds for free without wages can also benefit you down the line, depending on what your situation is.
There's also other ways to work camp, just for people that are watching that may be retired or have financial assistance with other things. There are volunteer opportunities. You can go to national parks or other beautiful places across the country. And volunteering is a good way to give back to the camping community.
I would recommend work camping to people that are still working age. And it's also good. We don't have children, but I'm sure that we have people here that work camp and have children, and it works for them because then the kids get to have the camping experience all the time. They get to take advantage of the facilities and the pool and all the fun stuff also. All right, so we're going to, now that I've adjusted my hat, we're going to go on to the next section instead of rambling on about our dumb crap over here.
Question number 2, what places have we explored since being in Sheridan, Wyoming?
Nothing really opened until like almost May. So towards the end of May, I think the week before Memorial Day, Devil's Tower, I believe it was for her birthday, which is normally around Memorial Day. We drove out there for however long it took, 2.5 hours to get there. And we finally hiked around it. We did the big boy hike, none of this like sidewalk hike.
It was the mid one. There's 3 of them that go around the perimeter, and we did the one in the middle.
So we did the big boy hike where there was actually stuff to like see, and you get different perspectives of the Devil's Tower without getting a neck cramp while looking directly up at it. And then it was recommended by one of the park rangers there that we go down about 0.3 miles down the road, make a right, and then make another right, and then a left, and then a right. I'm sure you know where this is. And then we found a parking lot in the middle of nowhere that you can get a view of the Devil's Tower in the distance, so you can actually see the whole thing, including like the base, because it's kind of hard to see the base when you're right up against it and there's trees and hills and stuff, but further away you can actually see the trunk of it, and then you can see it go up, and then it was pretty epic. And we hiked that, and that was pretty cool. And then as always, whenever we show up to an empty parking lot and we decide to take a selfie of where we're at, 94 people show up and park within 3 inches of us.
Right after us.
And then they're like, oh my God, everything's wonderful, even though like and then they get back on their car and they leave.
Just a Backroads Brzezinski tip, plan a little bit of extra time on your trips to walk. Don't show up, take a picture and leave because you might be missing something epic.
You should always plan a little extra time to just walk around, even if it's only like a half a mile, just to get a different perspective, and to just, you never know what you're going to experience or who you're going to meet or what kind of conversation you're going to have. And no matter where you go, it doesn't have to be just at the Devil's Tower. You know, I'm talking about everywhere you go. Try to set like a good half an hour to just get out of the car, walk around the area, look at some trails, get a different perspective.
So some other places that we went to that are a little bit more off the beaten path. A couple weeks ago we did Bighorn Canyon in Montana, just over the border. We had to cross the Bighorn Mountains, and then we went just up the border. We saw wild horses. That was one of the coolest things that I've witnessed here so far.
I was kind of shocked as we were walking to Bighorn Canyon that we were in Montana, because it was very Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, pretty much. I didn't mention Montana in that description at all. And then you like turn the corner and there's a bunch of wild horses and you're like, wow, and then you realize, holy crap, this is Montana.
So we did touch on the Bighorn Mountains area. Obviously that's pretty much where we're focusing our personal hiking experiences when we're not work camping.
Because everything's 4 hours away other than that.
Yeah, it was 2.5 hours to get to the Bighorn Canyon in Montana. So we have hikes that are actually 10-15 minutes away from us, which is awesome. And it's roughly, 40-ish minutes to get to the Bighorns?
From here, if to the foothills, it's 37 minutes. But if you want to start going up to the top of it or even to the other side of it, it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
So when 14A opened at the end of May, beginning of June, we took a ride and we saw, about a dozen moose?
Yes.
Yeah.
What we saw were moose.
And lots of them.
We saw more moose in 14 minutes of 14A than we did in 6.5 years in New Hampshire. We saw 2 in New Hampshire.
I actually saw on one of my solo hikes elk, so that was pretty cool. We saw a lot of pronghorn sheep.
I love pronghorn sheep.
Tons of cows, obviously, it's Wyoming. The wild horses and marmots. We saw prairie dogs at the Devil's Tower, lots of those.
I've seen snakes. The only snake I've seen was a garter snake at the campground that we're at while I was dumping all the 9,000 bags of leaves that I was working on. But I haven't really seen too many reptiles and amphibians around, but lots of other animals and stuff. So I'm going to tell you this. This was probably the best hike I've ever been on, and I get choked up thinking about it because it moved me. It moved me. We started walking, and we were pretty much following the river and its canyons on both sides, or cliffs on both sides, and we were walking into the canyon. And the river was pretty high and pretty rampant, I guess, probably from all the runoff from the melting of the snow when we went. And just that was awesome. And then you kind of go up, and then you go into this meadow. And I've never been in a meadow before. I didn't even know I liked meadows until that moment. And you walk out, and it's rolling hills with flowers everywhere and boulders and rocks and stuff sticking up. But a meadow is not like, it's not what you see on Microsoft screensaver. It's like there's a lot going on in there. But the canyon was still on the side. So we went through that meadow and continued down because apparently there's a second meadow that's amazing. And I was like, how could anything be better than the first meadow?
Sometimes you gotta go a little bit farther.
So sometimes you gotta go a little bit further.
Yeah.
The thing that got me the most, and there's a picture of this on my Facebook page, on my personal page, and I'll never forget it, and I get choked up just thinking about it. And I don't know how I'm going to describe it other than the meadow. There was green hills on this side and green hills on this side, and then there was the chasm of the canyon going down the middle, and it looked so cataclysmic but so beautiful and so serene. And nothing has touched that hike in my life.
I would highly recommend if you were to visit this area and want to go hiking, Tongue River Canyon.
Hell yeah. That's my favorite hike ever.
We've been on several hikes so far, now that we're halfway through. I'm not going to give out specific locations for some of them because they're a little more secluded. But we went to lakes. We did a couple lakes. They were so cool. And,
they were pretty cool. That was a hike we did yesterday that I feel pretty good about. And
Lookout Tower. We went to a lookout tower
that was
at
fun.
9,500 feet in elevation.
Dude, that was the mountain. That was the first mountain I did since New Hampshire, and I crushed it. And I went up there and I was
really
like,
cool.
yeah. And then
they had bathrooms up there too. What do we have going on while we're here for the rest of the summer?
How should I know? It hasn't happened yet.
Is anything going to happen, or are we just going to work?
Well.
So next month, we're going to our first rodeo. That, and then the day after, there's a parade and a powwow right in town. And this is not set in stone yet, but my mom, Peaches, is going to be visiting at the end of August. She's going to be staying in one of our wagons.
Not our wagons, but the campground's wagons.
Well, yeah, the campground. We're going to take my mom through the Bighorns, probably.
The other thing we have to look forward to, once Peaches leaves, and then I think it's probably going to be another week from there, we're finally going to try to get as much done as we possibly can at Yellowstone.
Yes.
So we're actually going to take the RV with us. So we're definitely going to have a video for that because we'll actually be traveling. So we'll probably do our normal stupid, pack up, tear down RV trip, Yellowstone, massive, giant video collection, and then you probably won't get those videos until 2027 because Jackie won't have any time to edit them.
Because now that I work again.
This is one of the few times where we're going to be traveling together while towing the RV, because as you know, she usually travels in her little hatchback with the cat.
We're going to keep my car here.
Right, so we're just going to travel all inclusive in Bam and Pow together.
But we're going to be there for, it's
3 days.
going to be a 4-day weekend.
Yeah, 4-day weekend, yeah.
So we're going to be traveling one of the days, going around the park. We'll probably split that in half.
For 2 full days, yeah.
And then we have a few highlighted places. This is all, I still have to plan.
We still have an itinerary to plan, but
Yeah.
we have the Harvest Host that we're staying at booked. And because we're staying at the Harvest Host because it's going to be too expensive to stay in hotels or stay in campgrounds or any of that stuff. So we decided to do a Harvest Host with an extended stay, which is still going to be significantly cheaper. And then we'll just have to find a dump station on the way home. Yellowstone's going to be our big bucket lister. When we were here, before we got here or when we just got here, we had 3 things we wanted to cross off our bucket list. 1 we already did, which is Devil's Tower. 2 is the rodeo, and the parade and the powwow are a bonus with the rodeo. And 3 is, because we're close enough, we just want to dip a toe into Yellowstone. And I'm sure we're going to come.
Not literally, because that would be very painful.
It'll melt off.
I mean, one of the people that Andy fixed something on her RV, she actually stayed here and then she was going out to one of the Yellowstone KOA campgrounds.
Yeah, she's working there
to work
for
camp. So
that's always an option, and that's always an option for any area that you want to. That's why we want to go to a different work camping area every single time we do this, is so that we can still work, because we have to pay our bills, but we can also really get down to the nitty-gritty of a certain area and really explore that area, and it still be interesting and fun.
Last question is, where are we off to next?
Well, that's a loaded question.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of stuff. That is a lot of handwriting. We're still in Wyoming until September. So what's definitely happening, it's not booked, but it definitely has to happen. So from Wyoming, I'm going directly to Akron, Indiana. I'm going to be training at the skirting company to become a certified installer for Route 6 mobile RV service. So we're going to be in Akron, Indiana there's 3 days of training, so we'll probably be there for 5 days. And then directly from there, we're shooting over to the border over by Pennsylvania, New Jersey border, because we're going to be in the area of our family for 2 weeks for a ton of family events and birthdays and catching up with friends and doing all that kind of stuff, since it's been 1 full year by then since we've seen anybody. And so we're going to be in that area for quite a bit. And then we got hired on to work camp in the thumb of Michigan to do our first beet harvest season from the end of October to mid to late November, depending on how that unfolds. And then from there, so after the beet harvest is when it kind of gets tentative.
I would like to keep an open mind, but Tennessee has been calling my name for work camping in the winter. I'm reaching out to a few people, but I am really hoping to work camp this winter somewhere in the Smoky Mountains. Winter work camping is a range of probably between November and March.
The end of March, yeah.
So for us, it would be probably December to March.
Mid-March, because we have to head back to Livingston, Texas to do our doctor's appointments and government stuff and whatever it is we need to do to make our yearly appearance in the state that we domicile at. And then after that, we have tentative plans. So shout out to my bro. He decided he's going to get married in June of next year. So that kind of, he didn't call me at all and ask me how I thought about when his wedding should be, so that it would not interfere with our travel plans. So whatever travel plans that we thought we had are now gone, and we are going to be in the Northeast within 8 hours of New Jersey. Probably Maine we're thinking about, or upstate New York are 2 places that we want to explore a little deeper, so that we can be in the Northeast, so when my brother does get married, I can show up and love him and be happy for him and bust his chops about how he ruined all of our plans of going to California. But that's okay. It'll be his special day, and I love him, and I love you guys.
Once you go west, it's kind of hard to go back to the Northeast. It's so beautiful here. But, family comes first, and we do miss everybody.
Right.
So
Terribly. I want to focus more on out here, because I've been up and down the East Coast pretty much my whole life. So I'm looking forward to just starting to dedicate the rest of my years exploring all these really huge, giant, open, vast areas for hiking and stuff.
Yeah, and we made friends in Texas. Shout out to Steve and Patty. Hey guys. They have some plans in their future, and I don't know.
Yeah. We might be crossing paths.
We might be crossing paths.
But we're not going to mention anything in this video because we don't know for sure. Disclaimer: we have no idea what the hell is going on. We're going to figure it out as we go. We'll be in deep communication, and at some point, we'll be able to meet up and be like, "Sup," and then there'll be more videos.
2 years from now, I have no idea, but we both want to see the West.
I want to see the Pacific Ocean.
Like maybe more west than where we're at right now.
Definitely want to see the Pacific Ocean.
The Pacific Ocean. I mean, I would love personally to go to Oregon and explore that area, but I have no idea. We got to get through the winter first, trying to figure out where we're going next. This chair is hurting my butt. It's hard to put my capris on because my calves are so strong now.
I like how thick with strength they are.
Actually, really happy to. And there
I
are
would
volunteers. There are
I
volunteers.
would. My coccyx hurts. Did it? I'll talk your face off, and then you'll realize your kids are like in the car sweating because I've been talking so long, and then it becomes never mind. But
Wow, how freaking beautiful was that?
all right. I mean, I went out there and I'm like, wow, it's a canyon. There was doves in New Jersey where we lived, and there was doves in New Hampshire where we live, and I guess they're just a lot more polite. And not your normal stupid parade either.
No, it's an actual parade.
Yeah. I love RVing! So we got here. I'm still fat.
I'm actually really. There's Huckleberry ice cream, so if you ever need to shut me up, just buy me Huckleberry ice cream. It's so good.
I have, and sometimes it works.
And we're gonna do that after this video.
She's going to. I'll have diarrhea.
Our RV life,
Journey.
RV lifestyle,
Experience.
our
Lifestyle.
adventure.
Tag words. Hashtag brave.
Trying to be nice.
Thank you for
are being
trying.
nice, but get out of here.
You're gonna end up in our blooper reel. Guests.
Did you have anything else to add?
No, we're done. Thanks.